Ladies and gentlemen, it is the big 2026, and 2025 was a pretty big year in my life for myself and my wife. We made some huge life changes and went from, owning a home in Ohio for 3 years to moving to Okinawa, Japan. And it's actually my second time living here. The first time was back in 2014, but we were able to come back in 2025. So my wife has been able to experience it since I never shut up about it. Japan was one of the biggest things in my life, and I'm so happy to be back. Anyways, one thing I noticed when we were packing everything up and getting stuff ready to move out here was just how much shit that we have held on to and collected, especially me, way more than my wife. I am a collector. I hold on to just the most random shit because I think it's cool or it means something to me or whatever. And I realized that besides my wife, not a lot of people, really anybody, has ever seen everything I've collected. It's stuff that I like to, put on display behind me, like you can see, even more stuff that sits in the closet that I just know I have. It makes me feel good. And I've always wondered what other people like to collect. And unfortunately, we don't always get to, get to other people's houses, or, that's not always our first thought to go to someone and be like, hey, what are all the weird stuff you collect? Show me everything. So I decided that, hey, I'm 30 years old. I'm going to be 31 this year. So let's go ahead and take a little pit stop in my life. And I'm going to show you guys everything that I've ever collected in my 30 years of life, because this is probably the only time where most of it is going to be in this room all at once. So yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. I am going to skip some repeatable stuff. You're going to kind of see that there's a trend, big Formula One guy. So there are some cars and stuff that are on display in my wife's studio that I'm going to leave in there. I don't want to, tear her studio apart just to do this video. And recently I've gotten into collecting cards. So I'm sure some people know how that hobby goes, that you just rip pack after pack after pack. I'm not going to spend hours showing you guys every single card that I've ever collected, but I'm going to show you guys some of my favorites. And we're actually going to lead off with one because it's something that happened super recent that is really cool to me. And that is going to be this card right here. I don't know if you guys obviously watch the UFC, but this is Tatsuro Taira. He's a UFC fighter from Okinawa, Japan, which is where we're currently living right now. And this was a big deal to get this card because I actually didn't have a signed UFC card at the time. We'll get to that part too, besides this one. I've been ripping packs trying to get everything. This is the only Tatsuro Taira card that I've even pulled out of all the packs I had. And he is a fighter, like I said, out of Okinawa, Japan. He was doing a meetup. So, I decided, hey, I want to go down there, try to meet him, see if I can get this card signed, because it'd be the first UFC card signed by a fighter that I've ever had. And I almost talked myself out of it, but my wife told me that, no, we're going to go, because I always do this stuff. It's one of them things where, not that Tatsuro Taira is a hero of mine, but, they always say you shouldn't meet your heroes because they're not what you expect. And that does tie into some of the other stuff that I have. So I was a little nervous about doing it. Didn't really want to. She talked me into it. We go down there, meet him. He's great. He signs the card. But one of the interesting parts is he was dedicating everything that he was signing that day to whoever it was for. So he tried to write my name up here, but his English is probably worse than my Japanese. So when I was trying to explain to him how to spell my name, he misunderstood me, but he was just fucking going for it. So I said B-R-Y. He thought I said B-O. And he kind of looked at me for a second and verified that it was O. And then he just fucking wrote it. He just absolutely sent it down here. But I ended up typing it up on my phone, and he wrote it correctly up there at the top. At first I was a little upset that he did it, because like I said, he was just fucking sending it. So at first I was a little upset, but my wife pointed out the fact that it kind of makes it even more personal now, because now there's a bigger story behind it, that, we were just chatting it up in two different languages, and that's what we ended up with. But it was my first signed card by a UFC fighter, and someone that I really, really like, and I've been rooting for ever since he got to the UFC. So that is super awesome. But this leads into the next card I'm going to show you, because like I said, I had never had a signed card before this. And the very next day I went to the local store to get some cards, or just take a look at some cards. And we don't really get a lot of the newer packs of cards out here because it is a remote island. But there was one box of 2025 UFC cards. I've been ripping nothing but 2024 packs for the last year. There was one box of 2025 cards on the shelf I've never seen before. They weren't in the right place or anything. And instantly I knew I have to grab it. And what do I pull? A signed UFC card out of the first 2025 pack that I've ever opened. This is a card from Nazim Sadikov. He's not one of my favorite fighters. He is someone I enjoy watching fight. I was actually sad that he beat this guy. This is Vyacheslav Borshev. I don't even think he's in the UFC now, but he was one of my favorite fighters. His nickname's Slava Claus. But yeah, I pulled a signed card literally right after going down to Naha and getting Tatsuro Taira to sign that card. All right, I'm gonna try to move a little bit quicker. This video is gonna be 2 hours long. I also have this entire collection of my favorite basketball player, Kelly Oubre Jr. Some of these are really cool. They're various teams, Hornets, Sixers. I watched him a lot when he played for the Wizards. I actually have way more stuff with Kelly Oubre. I've been to, I can't even count how many Wizards games, probably 80 or 90, because I lived in the DC area for quite a while. And I was a huge Wizards fan, a huge Kelly Oubre Jr. fan. So yeah, I have a whole collection of his cards. I buy them at almost every card shop I go to just build my collection and get them, because you never know what you're going to find. He's not a super popular player to either, so his cards are pretty cheap. Let's move on to the next thing. I have another card. This is a signed Mark Martin card. Favorite NASCAR driver growing up. I really don't even watch NASCAR, but growing up I was obsessed with Mark Martin. So I found this at a antique store, I think in Big Bear in California. My wife and I were there on vacation, and I snagged that up. Now getting into my favorite part of my desk, I have these mini helmets. Now these are all from Formula One. This is a signed helmet from Pierre Gasly. I didn't get it signed myself. I ordered it off at his website, but it's still super sick. I've been a fan of him ever since I started watching Formula One heavily back in 2017, 2018. And he had an awesome win at Monza. So I don't know, look that up. If you guys are interested in Formula One, or if you're a Formula One fan and it's been a while, just look up Pierre Gasly first win at Monza and just listen to how excited he was at the end of the race when he won. Absolutely amazing. Another mini helmet. This is Lando Norris's quadrant helmet from the Singapore Grand Prix, I think in 2022, maybe 2023. This was a special one he did with all the sparkles and stuff. These little suckers are expensive, by the way. This costs more than any other helmet I have, and I have the signed Pierre one, and I have one more signed helmet that I will show you guys. This one right here is also signed. This is an old Danny Kvyat helmet. He was my favorite driver until he wasn't in Formula One. I still like him a lot. I don't know what he's up to now. I know there was some talks with I think another WEC team. He might still be doing something WEC related, but yeah, this is his Formula One helmet from when he was with Red Bull. He bounced between Red Bull and Toro Rosso, AlphaTauri, pretty much his entire career. And yeah, so I got this signed helmet as soon as I could. This one was actually really affordable and was the first mini helmet I got, because I was never too hot on them. I always thought that mini helmets were kind of cheesy, but once I got this one and seen my first one in person, I was like, yep, there's another money sink for me. And then here is the most recent one that I've gotten. This is the Alex Albon. I actually don't remember what race this is from. Maybe the British Grand Prix? I could be wrong, but Alex Albon is a younger Formula One driver, races for Williams, which is my favorite team. And he did one that's all completely dedicated to his cats. He has a ton of animals, horses, dogs, cats, whatever. And yeah, this entire helmet was dedicated to all of his cats. Super, super cool helmet. That one was also pretty expensive. Which, again, like I said, I don't know why these mini helmets are so expensive, but they're sick. All right, these little keychains, these hang on the side of my desk. They're little Gundam figurines. My wife and I went to Fukuoka last year, and I wanted to take a photo of the big Gundam statue that they had down in Fukuoka. And they actually had a little trailer of a pop-up shop down there, and we didn't have a ton of space because on most of these trips, our goal is to buy racing related stuff or Formula One related stuff if we can find it. But we were able to, this is really the biggest thing we were able to get and slide into our backpack before we hopped on the plane, an hour later. But these things are super sick, really cool to have hanging on the desk. I also have this thing sitting up here. Just got this here recently. See it? Is it upside down? No. Yes. This is a Moon Eyes towel. I don't know why it's doing something weird with that. Oh, maybe from my green screen. This is a Moon Eyes towel. Super popular here in Japan. They have a little store here in Okinawa, so we went up there and picked some stuff up, one of which was this towel. I wanted some more collectible stuff, here in Japan, or car related stuff. And Moon Eyes is pretty popular in the car community, of course. So yeah, decided to go pick that up and got a towel. And then I keep these also on each, my desk over here, you can't see it, but it has 4 different levels. And I keep these on each level. These are giant Formula One RC cars. They sold these at Costco, and these dropped when we were living in California for a couple months. So the first thing I did, I ran to Costco and bought every single one that I could because these things are sick. It's not too often that you get, a Formula One model or RC car or anything that's this size with this much detail. And I think these were only like 50 or 60 bucks a piece. I could be wrong, but these things are amazing. So I of course have the Red Bull one. I would have bought every team if they had them, but of course they didn't. There's also a Ferrari one. Sorry, this one is very dirty and very hairy. My dog and my cat shed like crazy here in Okinawa with how humid it is. But yeah, so I have the giant Ferrari, giant Red Bull, and then I have this older Mercedes one. This is an older one from the prior regulations. I've had this one for years. This is one, I don't even remember where I found this, but this is obviously Sir Lewis Hamilton back when he was with Mercedes. Now he's with Ferrari, so that fandom's hurt a little bit because he probably won't be doing much winning with Ferrari since that's not what they do anymore. All right, let's go ahead and get into some of the stuff back here. This is the part where I'm going to be kind of up and moving around. Oh, one more thing up here. So we got this in mainland Japan. We went to it on a trip to like Nagoya, Osaka, stuff like that. We went to a place called Joshin Super Kids that has like a ton of die-cast models. And the first thing I did when I got to Japan, actually, well, before I got to Japan, was I bought a Toyota Starlet. So I really, really wanted a Toyota Starlet model. And fortunately, I was able to find one. So yeah, super, super cool pickup up there. All right. We'll just go ahead and hop into some of the stuff on the wall. All right, so here is an Aston Martin hat. Don't think I've ever worn this hat for anything other than a video. This is the Aston Martin Japanese Grand Prix hat from last year. It's got obviously Lance Stroll on there, Fernando Alonso. And this is actually one of the hats too that hangs on the wall, this AlphaTauri hat. I really didn't want to wear either of these hats. They hang up above some jerseys over here. The only reason I'm wearing this AlphaTauri hat is there's usually a Williams Racing hat that I wear. And my wife and I went to Makeman the other day. And when we were leaving, I wanted to take my hoodie off. So I set the hat on top of the car, took the hoodie off, forgot the hat. It fell off. It got ran over. So I have to clean it, make sure it's good, and then I'll go back to wearing that. And this beautiful AlphaTauri hat can go back on the wall where it belongs before the white gets ruined. Ooh. All right, well, we'll just go ahead and show you what I kicked. This was a Believe sign. My wife and I's favorite TV show ever is Ted Lasso. Close second now is Chad Powers. If you guys haven't watched that, it's amazing. Obviously, we like sports-related shows, clearly, but really, really good shows. So yeah, she got me this light to put in my studio. There really isn't a ton of space for it. I do need to put this up somewhere, though, so... I also got this on that trip to when we went to Nagoya and everything. It's just a Yuki Tsunoda little sash. Unfortunately, he's not in Formula One anymore after this last season, but I absolutely love pretty much everything around Yuki Tsunoda's brand. He's got the Japanese maple leaves on everything, and yeah, his branding's super cool. It kind of sucks he's not really in Formula One anymore. He is the Red Bull test and reserve driver, but it's not really the same. You're probably not going to get to see him in a Formula One car ever again. All right, I'm just going to go ahead and move this chair out of the way. Hey, buddy. Oh. All right, and then I have these. These are the FC Ryukyu jerseys that my wife and I picked up at our first FC Ryukyu game. They are a soccer or football team out here. We got really big into soccer and football back in Ohio. We each went to our first Columbus Crew game together and ended up falling in love with it. So when we came out here, naturally, went to an FC Ryukyu game, picked up some jerseys. We haven't been to another game since because it wasn't the greatest time. America just does sports differently. So the hype and the atmosphere is just way, way better back in Columbus. But yeah, I love their jerseys. It has the Shisa dogs on them and stuff. So I had to pick some up, and they've just been hanging in the studio ever since. All right, and then to go, we'll just stick with the jerseys for now. Oh, I'll just grab some of my favorite ones. I have a ton of jerseys. All right, I have a ton of jerseys, but I'll just show you guys some of my some of them that are more important to me. So we're gonna start off with this Kelly Oubre jersey. Like I said, he's my favorite player. I went to a ton of Wizards games, so naturally I was gonna get myself a jersey so that I could wear it to every game. Unfortunately, I never got the chance to meet him or have him sign anything. It would have been pretty sick to have a signed Oubre jersey, especially since I'm not going to any games. I'm not wearing it anymore. It does just hang up. So would have been sick if I could have got it signed. Unfortunately, I never did. All right, this one, these each have a pretty good story behind them. We'll start off with this one. So when we first started going to Columbus Crew games, let me move this up a little bit. So like I said, my wife and I first started going to Columbus Crew games together, ended up falling in love with it. I believe it was the second or third game that we ever went to. The first thing I said when we got there was, if any player scores a hat trick, I will buy their jersey, because we didn't know who to support. We didn't really have a favorite player. We just enjoyed the atmosphere, really enjoyed being at the games and watching it. Neither of us can stand to watch soccer on TV, but something about being at a Columbus Crew game is just different. So we really liked it. I said, if anyone scores a hat trick, I'll buy their jersey, assuming it wasn't going to happen. By halftime, I think he actually had the hat trick by halftime. It was an absolutely fucking insane game. I remember I was so stressed when he hit two, because I didn't have a ton of money at the time when I said that dumb shit. That these things are not cheap. These are about, I think this jersey was like $120, and he hit that third one in, and I was like, damn. I didn't really want to spend the $120, but I don't know what I believe in, but I believe in, if you say something or make a bet with yourself or something, you gotta follow through, or else it's just gonna be bad karma afterwards. So I went and blew out $120 on this jersey, but we kept going to go so many Columbus Crew games that it made it worth it, because I was able to wear this to the games, and now I have a bunch of other Columbus Crew jerseys. And unfortunately, Cucho, it was Cucho Hernandez, sorry, that hit the hat trick, and unfortunately he's not even with them anymore. They sold him to a team in Spain. I can't remember what team off the top of my head, but he plays for a team in Spain, I think. And this one, this is a jersey from Ennis, Ireland, and I got fucking bamboozled. So on the FIFA game, I always liked playing as this Irish team, the Finn Harps, and they're based out of Ballybofey, Ireland. It's I believe it's not a Northern Ireland team, but it's based out of Ballybofey in Ireland. And my goal when my wife and I went on our Ireland trip in 2000, maybe it was 2023, no, 2024. We went on our Ireland trip in 2024, and my goal was to get a Finn Harps jersey. Unfortunately, it was a little out of our way from where we were staying at. We went to Galway, Ennis, Athlone, and then back to Dublin. So I couldn't find the jersey anywhere, because I thought that it'd be like the U.S. where you could kind of get a little bit of everything at all the sports stores. I quickly realized that's not the case. But the one sports store, the old guy who owned it, kept telling me, oh, get this. This is the local team in Ennis, whatever. And I was like, you know what? I can't find the Finn Harps jersey. I don't want any of the big teams like Man U or anything that they have in all the sports stores there. So I was like, screw it. I'll go ahead and get this. Just to say, I got a local jersey. Well, come to find out, this is Irish rules of football, which is not fucking soccer. Has nothing to really do with actual football. You can carry the ball or something. I don't know. You guys have to look it up. Look up Irish football, and yeah, it's absolute fucking buffoonery. I got bamboozled. I now have an Irish football jersey that has nothing to do with what I was trying to do on my Irish trip. And I'm typically the guy who over researches everything. But I just went on a hunch with this local guy, and yeah, I ended up with a jersey for a sport that I could care less about, and a team that I have no clue about at all in Ennis, Ireland. So, yeah, that's something. All right, next I'll just start showing you guys some random stuff. So this is a jewelry box that I made back in middle school. It's never been used. I've never given it to anybody. Glued some felt in there, made it out of aluminum foil. I really don't even know why I still have that, but it made it this far. This is a set of cards. During COVID, I went through this thing where I really just wanted to learn how to shuffle cards for some reason. So I bought a cheap deck of cards, got pretty good at shuffling, and then I was like, you know what? I want a really nice deck of cards just because. So I ordered this set. It's made out of like this black vinyl. I actually think it's PET. But the cards are like really fancy looking. I was like, man, I want to get a nice set of cards for some reason just so I could shuffle them. These things are like impossible to shuffle because they're so slippery that every time you go to bridge them, they just shoot all over the place. Like I cannot keep control of these. I tried to shuffle for you, but there's no good way to show it on camera. But yeah, for some reason, I've just held on to this black PET deck of cards that I decided to order on a whim during COVID. So here I have a ticket from my one and only Cleveland Cavaliers game I went to. This, does it have a date on it? Yes, 2018, April 2018. I wanted to see LeBron in person because that was the only team that I like just kept missing back in Washington. Was every time a big team like the Lakers or the Cavs or anyone would come into town, I somehow just always missed those games. I don't know how that's possible. So my dad and I went to watch the Cleveland Cavaliers. I actually flew back into Cleveland from DC. I had my dad pick me up at the airport. We went and watched the game. All was good. It was pretty snowy around this time, and that's what coming back to that's the funny part of the story. So the next day, he takes me to the airport, drops me off. The plane ends up not taking off because there was a door issue, and they told me I was in the Air Force, so I went and like kind of talked to him about it, and they explained to me what was wrong with the aircraft, and I realized like, hey, that's not like a super quick fix most of the time. They agreed with me. So I was like, all right, well, I have to be back at work in D.C., obviously in the military, the very next day. So I was like, I'm screwed if I don't make it back to D.C. So I decided to leave, go get a rental car, and drive all the way to D.C. from Cleveland to make sure I made it back in time. And this was a mess, all right? They wouldn't give me a rental car because I wasn't old enough. I didn't have a credit card at the time because I didn't believe in them. So I was like 20, 21, 22 with no credit card. I didn't have a round trip ticket or anything to show to be able to not use a credit card. So they refused to give me a rental car at first. I ended up paying like double the price to be able to use a debit card. And I ended up driving this car all the way back, had a panic attack. I had suffered from some anxiety stuff back then. Had a panic attack on the side of the road in Pennsylvania. This whole thing going on. I finally get home at like 9 p.m. that night. I was supposed to fly out at like 1. I get home at like 9 p.m. that night. The fucking plane had landed 20 minutes before I pulled into my driveway. So I would have been fine. I ended up going down this whole goose chase, panic attack, fucking $500 on a rental car to try to make it. All right, so I accidentally just ended that recording. So these are just going to be spliced together. I'm trying to do this whole thing uncut, but so this right here is a patch. I ordered some stuff from Teddy Fresh back in the day. Obviously, you can tell this is back in like 2019. This patch says 2019 used to be the future. I mean, look at us now. Like I said, it's 2026. I mean, now 2019 feels like it's ages away. Wild, wild stuff. All right, so I also, back around that time when I was ordering stuff from Teddy Fresh, I got into shoes. And the first pair of shoes that ever got me into it, I started watching like Seth Fowler, Soul Drops, a pretty small channel back in the day because I played a lot of basketball. The first pair of shoes that got me into buying shoes was a pair of Kyrie 2 Christmases that I found at an outlet in National Harbor, Maryland. And I got them super cheap. They were on the wall. Someone must have returned them or something. So that's kind of what kicked it off because I was like, I need to have these shoes. I ended up selling them, and then I ended up like being a sneaker reseller. I've probably owned, 150, 200 pairs of shoes just during that period alone where I was like buying and flipping and collecting. But I had these made, the Nike by You, and you could have them made. These are the Kyriezis. So the first like Kanye deal what he had with shoes was with Nike. So these were like, you could do these on Nike by You and make them kind of look like the original Kanye shoes. So that's kind of what everyone knows these as, the Kyriezis. I've had this pair for a long time. I thought about selling them a few times because they do go for a pretty good amount, but I just can't bring myself to do it. So it's one of the pairs I've held on to. I have a few other pairs I'll show you guys that I've held on to. Most of my like hype shoes I've gotten rid of. Like I had the auto lacing ones. I've had a couple pairs of Travis's, but I've pretty much moved on from all that stuff. I'm too scared to wear them, and I kind of hit this point with shoes where I'm like, if I'm not gonna wear this shit, why do I have it? So I've gotten rid of some stuff. Here's like some of the most random shit. I have some random stuff. This is a Pitwork oil filter that's for a Nissan Skyline. So the first time I came to Japan, I bought an R34 Skyline, realized I couldn't bring that back to the States. So I bought a R32 sedan that I had for the last 10 years. And I got this oil filter. It's like an older Pitwork filter, and I just never used it. So it's kind of just been sitting around as a collectible, essentially. I've taken it, all over the United States with me, and now back to Japan for no reason whatsoever. But yeah, I have that. My dad recently gave me this. That's obviously not the clone. It's a Mustang clone box, but in it was a couple watches that he's had. So as I collect watches, as you guys are going to find out here soon, it has this like older Geneva watch, nothing too crazy. An older Pierre Cardin. Not really the style of anything that I'll wear, but stuff I'll hold on to just because my dad did give it to me. I don't really know the full story as to like where he got them, but hey, when your dad gives you something, you hold on to it, right? One watch that was in that case that I am going to wear, and I'm trying to like fix some stuff on it, is this old Swiss Army. Oh, let's see if you guys can see it. This old Swiss Army watch. This thing is super sick. I'm just trying to get the back off safely without scratching anything. It, for some reason, just won't come off because all I need to do is change the battery, I think, and it should be good. I'm probably going to change out this leather strap too because this thing is so old that it's like dry rotting and crumbling apart. And it's even in better shape than most of the ones I see online, but it's pretty bad. I'll go ahead and show you guys the watch box that my wife got me, actually. Oh. All right. So my wife got me this box. Absolute awesome box. I love this thing. It's got some automatic winders up here, but it actually has the watch in it that got me like into watches. So when I first got into watches around 21, and it was this one, no, 2020. And this was the first watch that I'd ordered. You can't really see it too well, but it's a Seiko 5 automatic. It's, if you look it up, it's one of like the best automatic watches that everyone recommends at a low price point. All right, having a little bit of issue with the recording. But what I was trying to show you in the watch box was there, on the one closest to my finger was a Seagull 1963. Pretty cool watch. But some of the other ones that were in there, this one's a Williams Racing, my favorite F1 team. It's a watch from Undone Watches here in Japan. And then I also have this Tom's Racing one. I actually bought this here in Japan as well. This one's super cool. It's a Casio Edifice. But the Tom's Racing collab is cool because they are known for building some like the cool starlets back in the day. So I feel like it kind of pertains to me. I mean, I don't own one of the older starlets that they used to build, but Tom's Racing feels like something that kind of pertains to me. And it's obviously something I'm interested in since I'm like a Toyota and a Toyota Starlet owner now. A Toyota guy is what I was trying to say. Since I'm like a Toyota guy, I've been a Nissan owner my entire life for the most part. But here lately, the last like 5 years, I've had a Toyota Hilux, a Celica, and now my Starlet. So maybe I've always been a Toyota guy, but yeah, Tom's Racing, Casio Edifice. Go ahead and set those down. What to show you guys next? All right, I'll show you guys some of the more random stuff. I feel like I keep showing you guys like racing related stuff. So this right here, I went through, when I started collecting shoes and stuff, I went through this like hype beast phase. And I remember this vividly. This is a temporary clock, actually from IKEA. Some of you guys might recognize some of the stuff I'm going to show you. But IKEA did a collab with Virgil Abloh, who created like Off-White. So that's where obviously you can see the inspiration is from. Try to get you guys a good look at it. I mean, you guys kind of get the vibe. I actually have two of these. But IKEA did this drop and it was super hyped up. And I was actually in between vacations in Maryland. So like I think I just went to Florida, was back for like 4 or 5 days, and then was going to Texas. And right in the middle of those two trips, I decided, screw it. I hopped in a Miata I had at the time, went to IKEA like an hour and a half away, stood in line at like 7 in the morning. It was fucking freezing because it was November. I remember it was November. I was freezing my nuts off just to get a couple of these clocks, and I'll show you guys the rest. So I have two of these clocks, the temporary. Oh. I also got this couple of these bags. This is how much of a hype beast I was, that I bought some of these fucking bags that say sculpture. I have this one little one, and I think there's two like bigger ones up in the top of the closet that I didn't want to get down. So yeah, I have IKEA off-white sculpture bags and this tool set that has never once been opened, and it says homework on it, and it's the same normal IKEA tool set just with like a different colorway, and the fact that it says homework on the lid. Now that I'm a little bit older, I'm like, I can't believe that I wasted my fucking money on this, but I don't know. I mean, I guess it's a good story. I bought so much shit. I'll show you the next part, because I actually had so much stuff that I drove home with the top down, freezing my nuts off to get it all in this little Miata. I had an NB Miata. Here is the main thing that I bought on that trip. This is an IKEA receipt rug. Alright? I have no clue why I bought this fucking rug, but it's covered in hair. So like I said, my animals shed like crazy. But this IKEA receipt rug, it's never ever been used as a rug. It just sits rolled up in different closets, and that's where it's been since I bought it. That was back in like, I think 2019 that this stuff came out. You guys can Google it. Fact check me. Maybe someone in the comments will know. But yeah, I bought some clocks, a tool set, and a fucking IKEA rug, and threw all this shit in a little Miata at like 8 in the morning, freezing my nuts off in Maryland. So, what people will do when you're a hype beast, right? Here's another thing that's kind of hypey, but I'm glad I have it. It's a Frozen Llama Ducky 1-2 Mini keyboard. This is, I think, a Tfue collab, where it's got like the Fortnite inspiration and stuff on the Ducky 1-2 Mini. Ducky keyboards are by far some of the best I've ever used. I mean, I use a Corsair K65 now, but this thing is pretty sick. I used this for quite a few years, and once I noticed it felt like it seemed like it was, or once I noticed that it was kind of getting worn out is when I quit using it. It's been in the box ever since. The only reason I actually bought this was a friend of mine during COVID was like really into gaming and like, you know, COD clips and stuff like that. We lived in Maryland together, in southern Maryland. We hopped in his Jeep one day and drove all the way to Delaware just to fucking pick up a Ducky 1-2 Mini keyboard. I think it might have been the same one. I think he also got a Frozen Llama. But we drove all the way up there just to get this Ducky 1-2 Mini because it was a pretty good price. And yeah, I never understood why someone would spend that kind of money on a keyboard. But when I moved back to Ohio in 2020, someone was selling one of these in the local area. I actually drove about a little over an hour to go buy this keyboard from this kid in a Micro Center parking lot. So yeah, super sick. I love this keyboard. If you know, you know. To some people, this is probably the most ridiculous thing you can buy. Oh, some of the most random stuff. So along with that helmet, I got a bunch of stuff from Pierre Gasly. This is also a little signed card. And then I have a Nintendo Super Famicom. This isn't like one of the full ones. It doesn't take cartridges or anything. It's like a little one you just plug into your TV. It's got some preloaded games on it. I bought this as soon as we got here to Japan. I have this old Cleveland Indians helmet. I think this was my brother's growing up. It's something that has just kind of come with me all this way. I'm not really sure why. I'm not even a fan of like the Indians or now the Guardians. I could really care less about baseball, but I have it. I've kept it. I don't know. This is like the original shift knob that I bought for my Skyline clear back in 2015. Again, I haven't put it in anything. Like every car I buy, I test fit it, realize that I still don't like it, take it right back out and buy another shift knob. But it's been with me, so I guess it's going to stay with me. Then I have a bunch of pop figurines. I'm not going to pull them all out. We need to get some shelves still, but yeah, I have like Lewis Hamilton, Verstappen. I actually have some more that I just ordered to come. I don't know. Pop figurines aren't really my thing, but I'm sure you can tell. I buy up literally anything Formula One related, so if it's Formula One related, odds are I'm going to buy it if I can afford it. I also have this Pierre Gasly hat that he signed under the bill. More Formula One stuff. Oh yeah, and also to go along with that stuff from IKEA, I bought some pillowcases. These are the same thing. They're just gray. They're actually really nice. but it has like this little off-white inspired tag down here with Virgil Abloh. These are really nice. I only used them for like a month, and they pretty much just sat, as you can tell, mostly scrunched up in a box somewhere, and that's probably where they're gonna stay. So, and then I have an absolute fuck ton of just various like Formula One models. This is like the most common and most affordable size. So yeah, I have a bunch of these. This is one of my favorite ones here. It sits on the top of my watch box up here. It's an Alex Albon Williams car. It's my favorite team. Some teams are like really hard to get for whatever reason. Like these two are some of the easiest. Like Alpine, they're very cheap. You can get them very easily. Ferrari. But some of the other teams like Haas, Sauber, like these other teams are really hard to get. So they're kind of pricey and I just refuse to spend the money. But this one actually popped up pretty cheap. So I went and picked it up, and like I said, I have a bunch of these. Oh. All right, well, we'll go with some stuff from my childhood now. This, I don't know why I've kept this forever. Sorry, my green screen filter is still kind of messing with certain things. But this was a skateboard that I had designed when I was back in like, I think middle school or maybe freshman of high school. And yeah, it's another one of the things, I don't know why I have it, but I made it, so it's kind of just stuck with me and come along for the ride. So, all right, and then I have this Hall of Fame baseball bat from Cooperstown, New York, and you can see, you guys might be able to read the year on there, 2008. My mom took me there a long time ago because we're originally from New York, so just one of the places that we stopped at when we were on vacation there one time, and yeah. I've had this. The only thing I really remember from that day was getting this bat made, and I did a little pitching thing. I think at that time I was pretty young, so I was only throwing like 60 miles an hour, and I thought it was sick. But all right, and then we have this. This is one of my pride and joy things. This is a Kelly Oubre poster. As I've already showed you, I have a ton of Kelly Oubre stuff, but this one is signed by him over here. Obviously, like I said, I haven't had anything signed by him myself. This I actually won on an auction one night at a game. It was during a time where, you have a little more money than you've ever had before. So you kind of just get a little stupid. And they put out this little card one day saying they were doing a bunch of like silent auctions and stuff on your phone that would be decided by the end of the game. And if you won, you would go down there and get it. Well, people just like really weren't bidding on that much stuff. So I bid on like 4 different things, like a pretty good amount, all right? And I was like, oh, it's all good. Like, I'm probably not going to win any of them. Like, maybe this is the only thing I bid more than once. So this one I fought somebody like 4 or 5 bids and won it. The other things I did not, and I was like a little nervous because nobody was bidding for a long time, but I was like, somebody will bid. I'm not going to end up spending $1,500. Well, I didn't end up spending $1,500, but I got pretty fucking close because I got this poster, which cost me quite a bit. But I also won a pair of these shoes. I'm going to leave the other one down there because it's in a case. But both shoes are autographed by Otto Porter Jr., who was not like a favorite player of mine. I mean, of course he played for my favorite team, but he's not like a player I cared about. And I spent like, I think in total, it was probably like $850 that night on a pair of shoes I don't give a fuck about and a poster that I do like, but at the end of the day, it's a fucking poster, But yeah, so that was a learning lesson. Don't fucking bid on shit unless you're willing to spend the money, because you end up with stupid shit like this, a massive shoe that I don't really care about, but I hold on to because I spent a lot of money on it and nobody's going to buy it. So that is that. I'll show you guys some more of this stuff. So this right here is a steering wheel. This is the first steering wheel I ever bought for my R32 Skyline back in 2015. It does have some signatures on there, so I pulled it out of the car and it's just been on display pretty much since I pulled it out of the car. But I went to Formula Drift Atlanta back in, I think, 2018, and I had my favorite drifter, Ryan Turk, Frederick Osbo, and Rad Dan sign it. I actually didn't care if Rad Dan signed it. I didn't really care about that guy at all. But when I walked up and asked Ryan Turk to sign it, Rad Dan was just kind of standing there with him. And for some reason, Turk handed it to him and he signed it too. So fuck it. I got Rad Dan's signature on there. I mean, he's an alright guy. But this leads into why I was kind of nervous to meet Tyra, because Ryan Turk and Rad Dan were kind of assholes when I went to get this signed. I tried to make a joke because they didn't seem too happy that I was asking them to sign it. So, and at this time, I don't think I had really had anything. I don't think I'd ever had anything signed in person by somebody at this time. So I was already kind of uncomfortable in general. And they, like I said, they seemed kind of pissed that I asked them to sign it. So I made the joke saying, "Oh, I'm not going to sell it." Well, Rad Dan decides to look at me and go, "Why the fuck would we care if you sell it?" And I didn't know what to say because I was also, it's when I tore my ACL. So I'm like standing there on crutches, waiting for them to give me the steering wheel back so I can fuck off. And I'm just like, I don't know. Like, I'm just trying to lighten the mood, dude. Because like everyone seems upset but me because I'm getting a steering wheel signed. So yeah, that's why I was kind of nervous to meet Tyra. You know, language barrier. And some people just, maybe they're not assholes, but the interaction just goes in a weird way to where it just feels like there's tension. But yeah, a different mood. This is an Antoine Hubert display that I ordered. Like I said, I got really big into Formula One and stuff like that in like 2017, 2018. And I started watching Formula 2, which is a lower category below F1 that kind of feeds into F1. Antoine Hubert was a driver that passed away in an accident at Spa. So yeah, I mean, that's really self-explanatory. I mean, I was watching the race when it happened. Juan Manuel Correa, which is who crashed with him, was one of my favorite drivers along with Antoine Hubert. So crazy that, you know, stuff like that can happen in a sport where they try to do a bunch of stuff to make it as safe as possible. But yeah, and then we almost had kind of like a repeat crazy incident with Roman Grosjean a few years later in Bahrain. I think most people have probably seen that clip, whether you watch Formula One or not. But thankfully we didn't. So yeah, I actually need to get another wall magnet to be able to hang this up. But all right, we'll try to get away from some Formula One stuff for a minute. So this is a Crown Fitment thing. Oh, that's got a crazy effect on it. Huh. I really should have turned that green screen thing off before I did this. This is a Crown Fitment 3D printed sign that a friend of mine made me. Crown Fitment is a company that I had for a little bit. And yeah, he made me this sign. He also made the logo, so that's why he, you know, had the files and everything. He made me a few different logos for the company and decided to mail this out to me, so super sick. So this has been on display. It was in my house and now here. And then I also have this. It's a little Fitz figurine. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Fitz. He doesn't really do too much content anymore. The whole Misfits group kind of fell apart. But I really started watching, you know, him and Swagger Souls and everyone a lot back in like 2020, 2021. Back when they were blowing up. Like I said, unfortunately, he doesn't really do much content now. I think they're starting another partner channel, but I mean, we'll see how that goes, right? Yeah, but this is a little YouTube's figurine. I wanted more stuff to like decorate my desk and stuff when I first started doing YouTube. So I ordered like this little Fitz figurine, and then I had some other stuff. I also had like some other little figurines from Overwatch. Roadhog, and there's a Winston back there. You can kind of see him right there underneath the window. And then I have a little McDonald's figurine that I got not too long ago. Sorry, I'm taking my time because I keep having these moments like halfway through the video where I'm like, this is a stupid video, but whatever, I'm making it now. So these I bought here when we got back to Japan. Like I said, if there's something Formula One or racing related, I'm gonna buy it. So I went and bought a bunch of old video games like F1 Hero 94, Battle Grand Prix, stuff like that, F1 Grand Prix, and these just sit on display back here on the shelf. I do plan on trying to find a console to be able to try them out and play them, but I don't really care to play the games. It's more just the fact that, you know, I have them to look at them, I guess. I mean, I guess that's what collecting stuff is. All right, I have a few of these, but this is actually what I did with the company that I had started, Crown Fitment. The whole premise was these 3D printed Formula One wheels. So you can see I have a copy or a model that was made of a Formula One wheel. It's modeled after like a Mercedes W16 wheel. and it has the lug nut. The lug nut is actually a little bit of lore for you since the company doesn't exist. It's a Mercedes wheel, but that's actually a Red Bull lug nut that I decided to put in there. And I bought some used karting tires from a guy like a couple towns away from me. And yeah, I came up with a way that, on the wider ones, it didn't. I never actually finished the back of this one, but on the wider ones, I never actually like came up with a good way. I was just sealing them off, but I did always want to actually mount it because on the smaller ones, on the front tires, I actually printed an entire wheel, and my wife and I would sit in the kitchen with a heat gun warming up the edge of the wheel, and then prying it in there with butter knives and actually mounting the tire on the wheel. Like I said, unfortunately, I never got around to doing that on this because I just couldn't print at the right height. And when I would, it was so flimsy that by the time I would get to mounting it, it would just crack in half immediately. But yeah, it didn't really work out. Obviously, the company doesn't exist. It's definitely my fault. I mean, I didn't really market it very well. This also isn't something that like is going to fly off shelves that people really care about. But yeah, I have a couple of these laying around. I have a bunch of the little ones laying around. I've been thinking about just like giving them away to like Formula One YouTubers and stuff, just so they can like, I don't know, throw them up in the background or something. But yeah, so this is something that's really important to me, really cool. I personally love looking at it, and I have one that sits on my main desk and one that sits back here behind me as well. And like I said, I have a bunch of them out there in the living room. So, all right, and here is a pair of Reeboks. I'm a big Reebok guy. There's a bunch back there that I'll pull up here, but this is one that I actually did myself. This is based on a pair that I bought. There's a bait collab with Reebok, I think for Ghostbusters, and I decided to try to recreate it myself because I sold the original pair and was kind of upset that I got rid of them, and the prices spiked. So yeah, I was in my phase where I was also painting some shoes and stuff like that. So I decided, screw it, let me buy some pens and some paint markers and give it a shot. I actually really like how they turned out. I mean, you guys will have to Google the original to, tell me if I did a good or bad job, but I'm pretty happy with them. I wear them super rare. I don't really wear high top shoes, so they're more just to look at, which is why I consider them a collectible. But yeah, every now and then these get broken out. Alright, and then here are some of my other Reeboks. So I have these. These are actually part of the 420 pack, so they were all like based off of like snacks. This was a slushie. There's also a Cosmic Brownie edition. I can't remember what the third one is off the top of my head, but I've been trying to like get all of them, but they're actually just really, really hard to find. I've had this pair forever, and I had a chance to buy the Cosmic Brownies once a few years ago, but they wanted like $300, and they're like $90 shoes. So I just couldn't bring myself to do it. In hindsight, I should have done it, but $300 for a pair of shoes you're not going to wear is kind of crazy. These are two pairs of my Bates. So these have been my favorite shoes since 2019. I went on a trip to Denver, Colorado, and I swung by the Bait store just to look at shoes, and I was kind of getting into Reeboks at that time. And they had these in there. There's like the East-West pack and just some different types of the Bait collab. And ever since then, I've had a pair that I've worn pretty much nonstop. I am missing some because I've just thrown them away without thinking about it. But I've been realized that like because I wear so many of these, I've just been keeping the old pairs that I quit wearing because, either they tear or something happens or they just get too dirty. So yeah, I just started keeping them. That way they were just around. That way I could have like a little display of all the pairs of Bait Reeboks that I've went through. I also ordered these here recently. These are the Kodak pair that just came out. Super cool. I haven't worn them yet. I don't know if I'm going to. I probably will at some point, but yellow is not really a color that I wear, so not really too sure on that. Alright, this is the original license plate off my Skyline that I bought and took back to the States. Obviously, once I took it back to the U.S., I didn't need the Japanese plates anymore. It was on Ohio tags. This is actually signed by a Japanese drifter that was at an event in Spotsylvania, Virginia, of all places. To be honest, I couldn't even tell you what his name was. I just knew, like, I talked to him for a little bit. We talked about Oki. He recognized the symbols on the plate were Okinawa. And yeah, I had him sign it. I wish I, for the life of me, could remember who it was. It wasn't like a Keiichi Tsuchiya or nothing like that. That I'd remember. But yeah, so signed by some random Japanese drifter that was over there doing a demo back then. This right here is the ticket for my first ever Formula One race. I went to the U.S. Grand Prix back in 2019 in Austin. So, yeah, that's something I've just always held on to. That was a really, really cool race. Had a really, really good time. My wife and I actually went to the Canadian Grand Prix in 2024. It was not as good, all right? If you're interested in a Formula One race and you're in the United States, Austin at least over Canada, in my opinion, because it's so much better. This right here, kind of a change of mood. My niece was killed a couple of years ago by someone who got out of jail and was like high on drugs and stuff. So yeah, this was from her funeral. They gave out these little hearts that you like taped onto your shirt or whatever, and it had her name on it. I realized that it was starting to like fade because I've kept it on my desk, but I realized it was starting to fade. So I put it in this little card box and put it down there so the sun wasn't shining on it and stuff to try to keep it from fading anymore. Yeah, so that sits back here on the shelf. All right, and like I said, there's a lot of Formula One stuff. So these are some Formula One magazines that I found at a bookstore here in Okinawa. So I went in and picked them up. This one actually also came with some other stuff, a little lanyard and stuff like that. I thought it was cool because it's the Honda F1 car. And it's important because I actually got a little Honda watch when we were up in Nagoya. Or actually, we were in Suzuka at this time. We went to the Suzuka racetrack. There's a little F1 store right across from the parking lot. And they have a bunch of like signed F1 stuff, parts of cars, every hat, shirt, hoodie you can think of. Like anything Formula One related for the last like 30 years, you can find it in the store, all right? And they had a little Honda BAR watch sitting in there. So I immediately snagged that up. I do need to try to find the original strap, but it is pretty expensive. But the watch was a deal. It was like $60. And like that watch complete goes online for like $300. So yeah, I'm trying to find a suitable like band for it so I can actually wear it. But super, super excited to have some like old Formula One stuff that I'm actually interested in since I'm collecting watches. And with that, I will show you guys the other watch box my wife got me. Was it backwards? No. I don't want to tip it too much, but yeah, I keep a majority of my watches in here. There's some pretty cool ones. I have this little like Chinese racing watch. I got that off a Drop back when they were doing watches. This is the Miami E-Prix. That's a boat racing team, but it's a Bulova Marine Star. I wanted this watch really bad when it came out because I just love to look at it. We actually got this at a mall in Seattle, Washington when we were there on a layover. This is a Tracer watch. This one, if you guys have ever played Escape from Tarkov or heard of it, this is the watch that the bear wears, the bear character, wears in the game. So, yeah, I ordered that because it's sick, and I've had thousands of hours in Escape from Tarkov. So, other than that, there's some other cool ones. I have like a Bapes watch down here. Nothing too crazy. But yeah, super happy to have the watch box because before that, all these watches were just scattered all over my desk in my studio. So huge shout out to my wife for that. And then here's another thing that I can shout out my wife for. She built me this McLaren Lego car. I want to get some of the other ones, but these things are expensive. I got this one on like a really, really heavy sale from Kohl's. So I went in and picked it up, and then she put it together for me. All this like Lego stuff or anything like that. Oh, she also built me these Gundams. I really like this stuff. I refuse to build it, man. This shit is a pain in the ass. But my wife sits out there at her table and endures this stuff whenever she gets a chance. So yeah, she built me this Gundam, this giant McLaren Lego car. She also built me this little Gundam. These actually sit out there on our TV stand. And then also built me this giant cardboard Mercedes F1 car. I picked this little kid up from Costco when I was back home a few months ago. I had to go back home to the United States to get our dog and bring him out here. And I actually picked this up at Costco and brought it back with me. So yeah, she put this together. It's a little flimsy. I see what she's talking about. It's the first time I've really moved it. This front wing has fallen off like 3 fucking times in the last like hour. It's annoying. All right, so this basketball was hand painted. I got this on senior night. I played basketball for my high school team, Jackson Center Tigers. So they have my number on there, Tiger, everything like that. So yeah, this is obviously stuck around for obvious reasons. I mean, cool thing to have. Someone went through the trouble of hand painting that for me. So I held on to that. Now this is actually a pretty cool story. So I'm not like a huge football guy, but I love Baker Mayfield. I've always liked Baker Mayfield since he played at OU. And I was actually in California. There was a random little like antique sports store that actually had this and the other one. So there's same Baker, but the home and away uniform. And a friend of mine is a big Cleveland Browns fan, so I bought both of them. I sent him one, and I kept one for myself. So yeah, now we each have one. And yeah, it's like the only football related thing I have, but super stoked to have it, and it's pretty cool to know that yeah, I sent my friend one, so now we each have one. All right, this is a big one that's stuck with me. This is the front fender off my Skyline when I crashed it, actually. So which way did everyone sign it? This way. So yeah, when I bought my R32 in Japan, I did RCCA and Gymkhana with it. And one day we went to the track and my power steering belt was kind of slipping because the tensioner was broke. Me being young and dumb thought it was no big deal. It was a big deal. I found the wall in one lap, completely destroyed this fender, destroyed turn signal, everything. I actually had to like take the whole front clip of the car off and put it in the back seat to be able to drive it back home because I couldn't get it trailered or anything at the time. And yeah, I said, screw it. This fender was cooked. So I went ahead and had everyone that was at the track sign it just to save it as a memory. So yeah, it's been with me. Unfortunately, I don't own the car anymore. I did sell it to move back to Japan. But yeah, pretty cool thing that I'll get to hold on to and has a pretty cool story behind it, I guess. I also have this Formula One flag that my wife got me. She got this when we lived back in Ohio to put in my studio. Because I was trying to do some Formula One videos and stuff back then, but I actually need to hang it back up. It used to cover my window, or one of my windows in my old studio, so that it wasn't so bright in there, but I don't really need it for that in this one, so it's been kind of tough on trying to figure out where to put it. But yeah, I need to get that hung back up. I have the big stuff that kind of does it. I have a... Ooh. I did also get this book. It's a Pierre Gasly comic book. It also has his signature on the inside of it. This goes with the helmet and stuff that I ordered earlier, or the helmet and stuff that I ordered that he also signed. I showed you. For some reason, I'm still holding on to this. It's a Cause Reese's Puff box. Cause is, I don't know if you guys have seen it. They have like Bear Bricks, shoes, all kinds of different stuff, shirts. Yeah, it was really big and like with the hype beast back in like 2019, 2020. So yeah, I collected this Reese's Puff box for some reason, and it's one of those random things that I've just held on to forever. I also have some like trophies from some car stuff that I went to. This is from Panda Junction, a meet that they did at a baseball field in Maryland. I think where like the Orioles trained, or maybe used to play back in the day. But this meet I'll never forget, because the day before I had my wisdom teeth taken out. So I remember just walking around this meet with a giant fucking jar of applesauce. And like I was like, felt like my gums were falling out of my fucking mouth. And yeah, I was just walking around for like 3 hours, ended up getting an award and shit. Wasn't paying attention, just eating fucking applesauce. A pretty good day, but they like let us in the baseball stadium and everything. It was a pretty fun one. And yeah, I ended up getting an award. Didn't even know. I went to get in my car to leave, and this was laying in the seat. And that's how I found out. So probably because I was so out of it that I probably didn't hear myself get called up or anything. So yeah, I also got this at a car meet near where I lived at the time in Springfield. There's a farm outside of town that hosts like a big car meet every year. Gearhead Fest, of course. And yeah, it's actually used to smell like the tree. But it's been a few years now. Since 2022, it doesn't smell anymore. But probably the coolest trophy I've ever gotten at a car meet. And I also have this. Someone gave this to me when I was in like middle school. It's a gold-plated Polywhirl. I think these came from like Burger King, if I remember right, back in the day. I wish I could remember who gave me this back in middle school, but I've held on to it ever since that kid gave it to me. So yeah, it's another one of those things that I'll probably never get rid of. It's a cool little thing to have, and knowing that someone gave it to me makes it even better. Like I said, I just wish I could remember who it was. I also have this Antisocial Social Club Formula One collab pillow. All I got was the pillow because everything was sold out super fast. This is back when I was still in like my hype beast phase and obviously a Formula One fan, so I had to get something. But yeah, everything's sold out super quick. So all I ended up with is this pillow. It sits on top of my sim rig that you guys can't see, but I have a full sim rig over here, and this sits like underneath the monitor. I love this thing. It's been with me for a long time, and yeah, it's a nice little addition to the sim rig at least. So this is all stuff that I just got super recently. This is a Moon Eyes jacket that goes with like the towel I bought. My wife got me this. This thing is super sick. I haven't worn it yet because it costs so much that I'm like scared to mess it up. But yeah, some more Moon Eyes stuff. And then this just recently came out from Ryan Turk, which like I said is my favorite drifter. And he actually just finished a build on one of my dream cars. It's a Toyota Celica. I actually had the chance to buy one. Unfortunately, I didn't get to drive it much. I just gave it to my dad. But yeah, he dropped a bunch of merch related to this Toyota Celica. And I love this stuff, man. This stuff is so sick. So yeah, I picked up some of this. I just got this like last week. Super happy to have that. Probably won't wear it much because I'm terrified to hurt any of it, and it is kind of like a collectible to me. So it'll probably sit in the closet right over here for the next couple years. This is something I just picked up recently. I'm pretty sure it's fake because I can't find it. But it's a Reebok like racing jacket, and it's made out of like flame suit material. A super sick jacket, but I can't find anything online about it, so I'm assuming it's a fake jacket. But yeah, super happy to have it. I mean, we found it in Mangasuko, and it's super sick. This is from my time in the military. It's an ascot that I've held on to. We used to have to wear this at the gate at Andrews. It would like go in your collar. Kind of lame, but I don't know. Once you got used to wearing it, it was kind of cool. And I'm not like a big uniform guy. Like all my uniforms are packed up somewhere. But yeah, I've held on to this. It just sits in the box. And kind of a super cool thing to hold on to because they've since gotten rid of it. They got rid of it when I was still there. So not a lot of people probably have these anymore. I'm sure most people that did it probably have it, but it's not a big group. I also have these boxes of mini F1 figures. So these got dropped at Costco as well, and as soon as these came out, my wife and I like drove an hour and a half to the nearest Costco and bought every single team. So I actually think I bought like doubles of some. Pretty sure, but yeah, I have like a full Mercedes one, McLaren one, Red Bull. There might be, no, those are the duplicates. So yeah, I had bought all of these. It has like all of some of the different cars through the last couple generations and rule sets. All the way from, Daniel Ricciardo, Sergio Perez, of course, Max Verstappen, if you're a Formula One fan. I think even a Sebastian Vettel car. So yeah, super, super sick to have this. More stuff to add to the collection of Formula One stuff. I also have this Mark Martin diecast car. I mean, obviously you guys see the trend here. I'm not going to open this up. I also got this at the same place I got the card in Big Bear. So super random stuff to find when you're on a vacation in like these little antique stores. But yeah, some stuff that got added to the collection. So like I said, you guys can tell there's a ton of racing stuff. I haven't showed you every single little thing. I have like a Formula One like little track car set that just came out through Hot Wheels. I went and picked that up. This video is not going to get released anyways, probably. So if you guys are seeing this, crazy, because I don't think I'm going to put this video out. So I don't know. See ya.